The mask of normalcy in the annals of American true crime. Few figures are as disturbingly contradictory as John Wayne Gacy. Outwardly, Gacy was the picture of suburban respectability, a successful contractor, political volunteer, and children's party entertainer. Beneath the mask, however, lay one of the most prolific and sadistic serial killers in U.S. history. Between 1972 and 1978, Gacy murdered at least 33 young men and boys in the Chicago area, many of whom were buried beneath his own home. His dual existence as a community hero and hidden predator exemplifies the terrifying duality of human nature, the capacity to wear a smiling mask while concealing unimaginable evil. Early life and the seeds of darkness. John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. He grew up in a working-class family dominated by an abusive alcoholic father. His father's physical and verbal assaults were constant, leaving Gacy desperate for validation yet filled with self-loathing. He was a sickly child, suffering from a congenital heart condition that prevented him from joining in rough play with other boys, something that deepened his sense of inadequacy. Gacy's desperate attempts to win his father's approval were met with ridicule. These early traumas planted the seeds of anger, control, and repression that would later blossom into violence. A double life, businessman and community leader. In adulthood, Gacy mastered the art of deception. He became a successful building contractor, employing local teens in his company, PDM Contractors. His charm and charisma made him popular among his peers and earned him positions of trust in local politics, including hosting Democratic Party events. He also remarried and moved into a quiet suburban home in Norwood Park. To outsiders, Gacy was the model, citizen-friendly, hardworking, generous. But beneath that image, he was already living a double life. In 1968, Gacy was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy in Iowa, a crime that foreshadowed his later horrors. After serving 18 months of a 10-year sentence, he returned to Illinois claiming rehabilitation. But his darker impulses had merely gone dormant, waiting for the right time to re-emerge. Pogo the Clown, the innocent disguise. One of the most macabre aspects of Gacy's persona was his alter ego. Pogo the Clown. Donning bright makeup and a ballooned costume, Gacy performed at charity events and children's parties. The idea of a clown, a symbol of innocence and joy, became twisted in his hands, a grotesque mask for his cruelty. Gacy once claimed that when he was dressed as Pogo, he could let go of everything. His clown persona offered psychological freedom, allowing him to step outside morality and repress guilt. To later investigators, this duality of killer and clown came to symbolize the sheer horror of his psyche, laughter and death side by side. The murders begin, a pattern of predation. Gacy's killings began in earnest in 1972. His victims were mostly teenage boys and young men, often vulnerable runaways or youths seeking work. He lured them with promises of jobs, money, or kindness. Once inside his home, he would subdue them often by tricking them into handcuffs under the pretense of showing a police trick. What followed was hours of torture, sexual assault, and ultimately strangulation. Many victims were killed the same night they met him. To Gacy, these young men were disposable, their lives reduced to moments of fleeting dominance and control. Over time, the killings became ritualistic, a means to fulfill both sexual desire and power fantasies. The House of Horrors, 8213 West Somerdale Avenue. Gacy's home on West Somerdale Avenue became the stage for one of the most horrifying discoveries in American criminal history. Beneath the floorboards of his house was a narrow crawl space where he buried 29 of his victims. The space, dark and suffocating, became a literal tomb beneath his family home. As decomposition set in, the stench seeped through the house. Gacy blamed plumbing issues or dead animals. When the crawl space became full, he began dumping bodies into the Des Plaines River. Each act of burial reinforced his illusion of control, his victims silenced, his secrets buried under his feet. The psychology of a predator. Psychologists describe Gacy as a textbook sociopath, charming, manipulative, devoid of empathy. He viewed his crimes not as acts of evil, but as necessary outlets for his urges. Gacy's ability to compartmentalize his life was chilling. He could murder a boy one night and volunteer at a fundraiser the next. His delusions of control extended even to his victims' remains, which he carefully arranged beneath the house. Gacy's psyche reveals a terrifying truth about serial predators. They can mimic normality so convincingly that their darkness becomes invisible until it is too late. Investigation and arrest. The end of Gacy's reign of terror began with the disappearance of 15-year-old Robert Piest in December 1978. Piest's mother told police he was last seen talking to Gacy about a job. Detectives investigating Gacy's background found a trail of missing youths connected to him. After obtaining a search warrant, they discovered a shocking inventory of items belonging to his victims' driver's licenses, handcuffs, and clothing. When police finally searched the crawlspace, the horror unfolded body by body. The grim excavation revealed a mass grave that shocked the nation. Gacy was arrested and confessed to the murders, often with chilling detachment. Trial, conviction, and execution. Gacy's trial in 1980 captivated the nation. His defense team argued insanity, suggesting that his crimes were committed by his multiple personalities, most notably Jack and Pogo. But the jury saw through his manipulations. Gacy was convicted of 33 counts of murder, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. Sentenced to death, he spent 14 years on death row. During that time, he painted portraits of clowns, many of himself as Pogo, which were later auctioned to collectors morbidly fascinated by his infamy. On May 10, 1994, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection. His final words, "Kiss my ass," were a chilling reflection of his unrepentant arrogance. Aftermath and cultural legacy. The Gacy case left an indelible mark on American consciousness. It reshaped public awareness of serial crime and inspired countless documentaries, books, and films. The image of the killer clown seeped into pop culture, becoming a metaphor for hidden evil. Beyond sensationalism, Gacy's crimes led to improved forensic techniques, including better tracking of missing persons. His case remains a touchstone in criminal psychology, illustrating how narcissism, trauma, and predatory control can fuse into monstrous behavior. Conclusion: the duality of horror. John Wayne Gacy remains a symbol of the duality of evil, the smiling face that hides the monster within. His story forces society to confront uncomfortable questions about perception, trust, and the darkness that can lurk behind ordinary lives. Gacy was not just a murderer. He was a mirror reflecting the fragility of our assumptions about goodness and safety. In studying his crimes, we are reminded that true horror often wears the most disarming mask, a painted smile concealing death itself.